CONCACAF World Cup qualifying, as well as my reaction to the Costa Rica US game from last week that I promised to get around. So, first, let me start with last night's games. Costa Rica versus Mexico, a win last night would have seen Costa Rica qualify directly to the World Cup. They almost pulled it off, I believe, when they struck the post in stoppage time to come from behind almost to win the match 2-1. This match, I managed to watch highlights of it, and for the most part, it seemed to be fairly even, with I would get the slight edge to Mexico as far who was the better team. But Mexico, through Herving Lozano and Tecacito Corona, really had an opportunity to put this away and win this 2-0 in the 80-something minute. But they just couldn't put away their chances. I thought Tecacito Corona, personally, was being a little bit too selfish with the ball. He made some great run-ins in the box, but he just he didn't make some passes where I thought they were necessary. A little bit of a ball hog, but the dude has pretty incredible speed, in my opinion. So, that was still a delight to watch as a neutral. Costa Rica's equalizer through Ureña was magnificent. Ochoa, there was no way Ochoa was getting a hand to that. He saw it coming, but it was just too much of a lob that found the foot of Ureña just outside the box. And Costa Rica equalized late on in the game, and it went on to end 1-1. Costa Rica arguably could have stolen it in the end. That would have seen them qualify directly. But I think a draw here, 1-1, is just about the right result. Mexico can't really complain too much. They're on 18 points now. They've already qualified last week. Costa Rica is now on 15 points, which historically speaking, 15 points is pretty much like the gateway for CONCACAF in the Hex to get to the World Cup. So they haven't officially qualified yet, but they are pretty much knocking on Russia's door at the moment. Elsewhere, Panama getting an important victory over Trinidad and Tobago, getting the 3 points, because if they dropped points here as they did in Trinidad, which has registered so far as Trinidad and Tobago's only win of the qualifying campaign, then I think Panama would have been out. They would have been done. It would be a race between the United States and Honduras for third and fourth. But Panama with a relatively comfortable 3-0 victory over Trinidad and Tobago. So they right now are in third place with 10 points and 2 games remaining. So as things stand on the table, it'd be Mexico, Costa Rica, and Panama who go through. But Panama also have a more difficult schedule remaining than the United States does. But it was a all-important 3 points that they garnered. And let's see if they can take their momentum into their next match. They did pretty well for themselves in Mexico City last week. Some people argued they should have equalized right at the end, but they couldn't do it. So they have to be happy with last night's performance. Their last 2 matches are against us, the United States, on the road in October, and then followed up by a match against Costa Rica at home. Hopefully for Panama, by the time they play their last game against Costa Rica will have already qualified, because if Costa Rica need a result from that game, Panama's remaining schedule is pretty tough. And then we had Honduras versus the United States. Look, you got my quick reaction to that last night. I thought our performance yesterday was relatively despicable. I actually thought, even though we got a result last night, I actually thought we played worse last night than we did against Costa Rica, because at least Costa Rica, in the first half, we were the side that was mostly asserting ourselves on offense. And I'll get to the Costa Rica game in just a sec. But for the Honduras-U.S. game, once the United States went behind, the response was supremely bland and lackluster. We kind of put our head down, tucked our tail between our legs. We didn't really make any kind of concerted effort to come back into the match. And I thought that for the most part, Honduras did an excellent job of stifling anything we tried to create moving forward. And for the most part, Honduras could have won this game 2-3-0. We were really lucky to stay in it all the way until the end. When the free kick, I'm not sure if it hit the crossbar or if the Honduran goalkeeper got a hand to it, but it looked like it hit the crossbar. Honduras' defense not clearing the ball out after that free kick was taken is entirely their fault. Bobby Wood had to get around maybe 3 or 4 defenders to tuck it into the back of the net. I think we got lucky there because that goal was mostly due to Honduras' poor defending, not getting the ball out of the box. When a free kick comes into your box and your keeper gets a hand on it, you punt it out. You don't try to level it off and try to pass within your own zone. You kick that ball as far away from your box as you can get it because it's just dangerous, and Honduras didn't do that. But I'm not going to complain because we capitalized on it and we got a draw. Did we deserve it? Probably not. But at the same time, it's Honduras' fault. So I thought that was probably our second. Actually, you know what? I think that was our second to worst performance in the Hex so far. The only other game that was worse than this was the 4-0 loss to Costa Rica a few months ago, last year. But this was the worst U.S. match I've seen in 2017. In 2017, this was the worst I've seen us. And speaking of Costa Rica, they beat us again last week, 2-0, 2 legs, 6 points on us, 6 goals on us. And I thought for the most part, I really thought we were going to get a result from that, but they played smarter football than we did. And I think that they won for a number of reasons. Number one, whoever decided to put the match in the New York City area made a huge mistake, because if you saw that crowd, it was like we were playing an away game. A lot of Costa Rican fan support came to the Red Bull Arena in Harrison, New Jersey. And for the most part, the way that Costa Rica lined up, I believe Oscar Ramirez used a 5-2-2-1 formation. So that tells you that they came in there not necessarily to play anti-football and get us on the counter, but they came there to get a result, whether that's a win or a draw. Very compact at the back, again, with that formation I just said. And for the most part, Costa Rica exploited all of our midfield and defensive frailties. I believe that one of Ureña's goals came completely out of nowhere when we were pressing numbers forward, trying to get an equalizer, and they just punished us on the counter. And that was it after that. Once they went ahead 2-0, I believe this was like the 80-something minute, it was pretty much over. So it was a very frustrating game for the United States. I don't know what club Michael Ureña plays for. I'm not sure, but whatever it is, I hope they gave him another look. If he's not playing for a great club, then I hope a greater club gives a look at him, because this guy is fucking lethal. As he demonstrated again last night in the match against Mexico. You give him just an inch of space in that box, or you give him the ball upfield when he's on the counter, he's hard to stop. For the most part in this match, I thought we were really poor. Costa Rica came with a specific game plan, and they executed it to perfection, and we didn't. We were easily frustrated, and we had no answers really for them. I think the Honduras game was worse, but that's the worst part of it all. We had no answer to going behind. So those are my reactions. I'm really disappointed, but I'm glad we salvaged a point last night. At least we're in fourth now, ahead of Honduras on goal difference. But we really need to pick up the pace. I want nothing less than 6 points from our last 2 games. So thank you guys for watching. Leave a comment below, like, subscribe. I'll see you in my next video later today. Until then, much love and peace out.